Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this evening's call. I want to first and foremost go over some quick house rules. One, you want to keep your phone and audio on mute and your camera on mute as we are recording this presentation, and we don't want to interfere with the streaming of the call. But also, again, want to welcome you all for coming to this call this evening. And you were invited by someone who loves you, someone who cares about you, someone who is deeply um, concerned about your well-being and your wealth. So I believe that our wealth is actually our health is our first wealth. So you're going to hear this evening about some strategies and some techniques. We're going to have a discussion about how to improve your health. And again, your health, I guess, is your first wealth because you could be healthy and still be broke, or you can be wealthy and still be broke. Because again, if you don't have your health, I consider you're not broke, but you're broken. And we've been attacked. We're under attack, I should say, particularly as believers and Christians and people of faith. And I say we are being attacked by land, air, and sea. What do I mean by that? First and foremost, our soil has been depleted because there's so many years of farming and dredging and use of the land. The food that we eat today is simply not the same food we ate 40, 50, 60 years ago because as you continue to farm and farm, you're taking the minerals out of the soil. So the food that we are eating today is not quite the same. In fact, when I go shopping, I love certain fruits and vegetables, but I noticed that the watermelons are seedless, the cucumbers are seedless, the grapes are seedless. I said, well, God gave us seeds to reproduce. So what happened to all the seeds? So a lot of food that we're getting is being created in the lab. So again, that's the first attack. The second attack we have is our water. Some of you may be familiar with what happened in Detroit, in the Michigan area a few years ago, where the system, the whole water system was contaminated. People were getting sick and even dying from the contamination of the water. And the sad part about it is those in charge, those who are um, elected to look over and take over for us. Again, remember this. Come on, when you come onto the call, make sure you stay on mute, please. When they knew that there was a problem with the water system, but what did they do? Absolutely not. They tried to hide it. And again, that became a problem because again, people are succumbing to it. Give me one second. I have to mute. So the bottom line is we're getting attacked by air, land, and sea. And again, how about the air? I live here in New Jersey, and last year there was a big fire in Canada, and because of the smoke of the fire and the contamination of the air, we were actually we warned not to come outside for 2 days because the contamination from the air and the burning from Canada was so bad that it was transferred all the way to New York and New Jersey area, and we were told to stay inside to avoid it. So again, we're being attacked by land, air, and sea. So our health is in jeopardy. Again, so when I say health as well, so we're here today to share with you and have a discussion about how you can have some improvements. And I want to first and foremost and welcome all of the guests who were invited by Ms. Gloria Harrison. This is her come out launch party, as we call it, her launch event. She is one of our newest partners. Again, and so if you were invited by her, welcome. Want to also welcome all of the people from Chicago that was invited by Mr. Michael Huggins. Also, anybody interested, invited by Dr. Anthony Stroman. We have so many partners that are invited people. So you are here for a reason. And let me get right into the presentation. And I don't know about you, but anytime I hear about an opportunity or information, I want to know a little bit about the person that I'm hearing from. I'm just going to tell a little bit about my background so you feel comfortable knowing that you're hearing from someone who at least is worth listening to. Again, my name is Derek Hawkins. I'm a man of faith, humility, integrity. I am also a husband, father, son, and grandfather. Some of the pictures you see represent what is important to me. I'm a deacon. I'm the ministry leader of my church, but also I'm a vice president of the jurisdiction church that I live in the area, in the New York, New Jersey area. I'm a retired engineer and project manager. I've been working for 36 and a half years as an engineer and project manager where I managed multi-million dollar contracts. They didn't pay me multi-million dollars. They just gave me an hourly wage. So I made a decent living. I was able to take care of myself, maybe take 1 to 2 vacations a year. Again, so I live decently and I retired with a nice, decent pension. So I can afford to live comfortably. However, I always wanted to be in a position where I can actually create wealth and help my family, help people that I know and care about. So I've always had what I call something I did on the side. Some of you may refer to it as a side hustle. a part-time job, a second income opportunity. Because again, if if you really want to be free, you want to be able to be in a position where money is not an issue and you could do and help more people. I'm also I'm a sports enthusiast. I play basketball at a high level. I played Division I college basketball at Ivy League institution, Columbia University. I actually was there at the same time as our former president, Barack Obama, was a student at Columbia before going into Princeton and becoming a lawyer and eventually president. I'm also a health and wellness advocate. I've always advocated for health and wealth for years. And again, I'm still an advocate for health and wealth. That is why I'm part of this community. I'm a Maxwell team certified team leader, so I'm able to do courses and teach workshops on leadership by John Maxwell. John Maxwell, as some of you may or may not know, was a pastor for 25 years before he got delved into personal development. He is one of the most sought after leaders in the world when it comes to teaching on leadership, and he teaches it with Christian principles, which make it even that more powerful. I'm also author, speaker, trainer, coach. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. Toastmasters is an international organization where you learn how to improve your communication and your leadership skills at the same time. I recommend that for anyone. And the reason I joined it, I was scared of speaking in front of people, if you can believe that. And again, over 20 plus years ago, I was when I first joined Toastmasters. It's an international organization, and there's probably one in your community or neighborhood. Some churches have branches, some companies have branches, some people have their own. But again, do that as well. Recently was received an honorary doctorate in humanitarianism along with my wife. You see me with our robes, and we're going to be giving that award in July, and we're thankful for that because we do a lot of things in the community, both together as well as individually. I do a lot of things for men, young men in the community. My wife does a lot of things for women entrepreneurs. So, and I'm also, last and not least, but I'm a LifeWay brand partner. You're going to find out what that is in a minute. So, again, want to welcome each and every one to the call. Hopefully, you know a little bit about me. Those pictures just represent what's important to me, my family, my faith, and having fun. So, again, let's get right into the presentation. Why you invited here today? The first question I'm going to ask you is, have you been patched? And the patch I'm talking about is the little bandage size. Looks like a bandage on the arm of the woman you see on the screen. That is what we call a stem cell reactivation patch. And let me tell you a little bit about the patch. And here's what's important to know. Now, I don't know if this happened to you, but my doctors, the medical professionals, they have never mentioned this to me. However, the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. And again, just think about your own life. When we were kids, when you were younger, you can run and get scratched and get cut, and you get bruised, and you could break something, and you will be healing in almost no time. You know, it was incredible how quickly you would heal, how quickly you would recover from that. However, as we get older, if you have those same injuries, if you get scratched or you get those same things, it becomes a lifelong injury, a lifelong disability. Again, many of us, you hear about people falling all the time and breaking a hip, because again, as we get older, you know, actually when you turn 30, about half of your stem cells, only half of them are active. And by the time you turn 60, almost all your stem cell activity is dormant. And that is why that means your stem cells are moving slower. And again, we have stem cells in every cell in our body. So having healthy stem cells are very important. That is why this particular patch is important to you. And again, if you have not been patched, I will guarantee you, once you have been patched, and you're going to make sure you patch for life. And if you have not been patched, make sure you get back to the person who invited you to see how you can get some patches right away. Now, let me talk about the person who developed these patches. His name is David Schmidt. He's the CEO, the inventor of this patch. David has over 180 patents. I want to just let that sink in. 180 patents. I mean, there are some people in this world who are just considered a genius, and he's committed because he dedicated his life to what we call age reversing. That's what he spent his time in. In fact, 20 years ago, David was actually commissioned by the U.S. government, particularly the Navy SEALs, to come up with a technology or something or some way that the Navy SEALs can stay alert for more than 30 hours without having to take any drugged medication or injection or anything that had any side effects. So David developed his first patch almost 20 years ago, and he's been on a journey since then. Now, back in 2008, David focused his attention on stem cell research. He developed something called an X39 patent. It took him over 10 years and $4.5 million to bring to market. Just think about that. How many of you would spend even a year trying to figure something out, and if it doesn't work, you continue to work on it? You really have to be passionate. You really have to be determined and driven by that. So I'm going to actually let you hear from David himself. I'm going to play a short 3-minute video. This video is you're going to hear from David. He was at an event in Florida sometime last year. And at this event, there were doctors, there were nurses, there were business people, there were middle class, there were lower classes. No matter, every class of people you can think of, every form of professional you can think of was at this event. And what he did was he explained how the X39 was developed, how it works. And then after this 3-minute video, I'm going to come on the other side of that video, and I'm going to break it down to its simplest form so you will fully understand how this patch works. So sit tight, listen to this 3-minute video, and I'll be back on the other side of this video.
Please share with us how the amazing X39 technology works. We've got a lot of brand partners that are brand new, so they really want to hear from you. And then we got some highly sophisticated, educated doctors in the room. So kind of relate to all of them on how this technology works.
Yeah, so the first thing to understand, I suppose, is that our bodies are based on light as a form of communication. We have a bioelectrical system in our body, which is all based on math and geometry. And if we can understand what this biological code is, we can do some really remarkable things with it. So the current direction of my research is looking at species that are immortal and looking at codes, the mathematical codes that we find in the Bible and mathematical codes that we find in nature, which I now think of as being God's fingerprint. And we can use this information to support the body's natural healing systems in ways that haven't been available before. So with the patches, which is one of many different technologies that we'll come out with. I know we'll probably talk a little bit about what's in store for the future, which is incredibly exciting. But on the patches, because this is our foundational technology and our foundational products, they stimulate the skin with a blend of different wavelengths of light that are modulated to contain information. So what does this mean? If we think of laser communications, which have been around for many, many decades now, and that's how fiber optics work. We're going to take a laser, we modulate the light to contain information, and then at the receiving end, that light is unpacked and decoded, and now we can hear voice or see video. So the human body essentially works the same way, meaning that light is emitted from the cells. And actually, how light is emitted from the cells is an incredibly fascinating subject because it's coming from the DNA and the hydrogen bonds in the DNA. And that light emission has actually come from the spiritual realm, you might say. But what this all means is that in the thousands and thousands of different biochemical reactions that are occurring at any one time, there are pulses of coherent laser-like light that is emitted from the DNA, emitted from the cells, and this orchestrates and initiates the changing biochemical environment in the cell. So what this means is that now, through normal course of aging, our glutathione or our copper peptide levels would decrease. But if we know the code where we can stimulate the skin and communicate with the body and say, hey, I'd like to increase those copper peptide levels, and I want to improve the activity of the stem cells in the body. If we know that code, then it's nothing more complicated than stimulating the skin with those wavelengths of light to instruct the cells to elevate the copper peptide. And the exciting thing is that that's only the beginning. What we can do with light-based technology is nothing short of extraordinary.
Well, and I hope you listen very closely to David Schmidt, because the one thing that if you listen to him very closely, this is what you'll know. You know that he is a man of faith. Just listen to the language he talked about. He talked about codes from the Bible and from nature. He talked about God's fingerprint being on it. He talked about the spiritual realm, which is the light. And the most important thing to understand, he talked about one particular thing. He talked about a copper peptide. Now, I know we're talking about stem cells. There's no stem cells in the patch. But really what this opportunity is about something called GHK, which is a copper peptide, which is a protein in our body. And just to kind of simplify what David just shared with us, you might have heard people say, hey, well, go outside and get some vitamin D. Now, when you go outside to get vitamin D, you're not getting vitamin D from the sun. What's happening is the sun is hitting your body at certain wavelengths. And when that wavelength hits your body, it's activating the vitamin D that is already God given. So God has already given us what we need to heal ourselves. It just took someone else like a David Schmidt to figure out how to use what we already have to do it, because we're going to talk about the patch and what's in it. Now, even more importantly, when you think about that, is he talked about the copper peptide. Now, the copper peptide is really what gets activated. And back in 1973, a gentleman named Lauren Picard, and that's a copy of what you're looking at in his book. Lauren Picard is a PhD. He's a scientist like David Schmidt. And I'm going to talk about the connection between David Schmidt as well as Lauren Picard. Now, Lauren Picard was 5 years old. At 5 years old, his grandmother had metastatic cancer, and she succumbed to the cancer, and that really horrified him. In fact, his mother was scared because she figured, hey, if my mother got it, I'm concerned about my own health. And so what happened is that his mother also got cancer. So when David was just 5 years old, I'm sorry, when Lauren Picard was 5 years old, he said to his mother, I'm going to find a cure for cancer. Now, again, just imagine that at 5 years old, you're already having what's in your mind, what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Now, he did not develop a cure for cancer, but let me tell you what he did do. He actually started studying, he actually discovered the copper peptide that David Schmidt talks about in his career. So David, again, a man of faith, spent his entire life. In fact, that's what he does, finding ways for age reversal using natural things that our body has. So when Lauren Picard identified and discovered the copper peptide, what he was doing was he was studying, he was searching. There was just literally hundreds of proteins that would work, but he couldn't figure out which one would work. Now, Lauren Picard comes from a family of 21 ministers, and he was always taught to have a passion, to have a purpose in life. So let me just read a quote from his book so that you know the connection between not only Lauren Picard in discovering this isolated GHQ copper peptide, but in David Schmidt and using that to create this stem cell patch. He says, I realized how difficult it would be to discover a new molecule that would help in the treatment of difficult human diseases. So I did what our family's ministers always recommended, and I prayed to God. Let me say that again. I prayed to God to lead me to a new miraculous health molecule. This was GHK copper peptide, which I isolated in 1973, but whose importance only began to be understood after 2010. So now you have the connection between Lauren Picard, David Schmidt, and again, and I say this all the time, this is not irony, it's destiny. It was destined to happen. So we're in a fortunate to be in position. I'm just going to give you a quick analogy. And again, just think about this. Do you think that there is more electricity in the world today than there was, say, thousands of years ago? Now, when you think about it and you see what we have today and what we have access to and what we had 1,000 years ago, your natural instinct or answer would be, no, we do have more electricity today than we did 1,000 years ago. But I have to share with you, we don't have more electricity today than we had thousands of years ago. We've always had the resources to create the electricity. It's just that it took someone like an Edison and like some other famous inventors to figure out how to use the natural resources to convert it to use for electricity. And that's all what's happening here. So again, that's who Lauren Picard is. That's who David Schmidt. So again, this is not irony. This is destiny. So you are in the right place at the right time. Now let's talk about this particular patch. Now this patch is there's a patent, and again the patent number is there if you want to jot it down. For those of you who are interested in facts and figures, and I'm just going to read some of what the patent says. And again, this goes all the way back to what we call the GHK copper peptide, and again, which now is part of this particular study. It says the embodiments as a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. Now, if this was a health menu and you had a chance to choose what you wanted, I would have everything on this menu because we all know people and have that suffer and deal with these issues. Imagine having the ability to address those things. That's what this patch does. Now, how does this patch work? Very simply, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy. That's why there's a patent. And understand, you cannot get a patent for something that does not work. David has 180 patents because he continually figures out ways for things to work. And again, it's a patented nanocrystal technology. Nanocrystal just means very small, so you can't really see it. And that is why when you look at the patch, I know when I first saw it, I said, how could something so small do something so powerful? That's because of this technology. What it does, it reflects lights to activate your stem cells. Just like I said, when you go out into the sun to get vitamin D, you're not getting vitamin D from the sun. It's the reflection of the light hitting your body at certain wavelengths that allows your body to activate what God has already given us, which is these copper peptides. There's no stem cells in the patch. Again, it's non-transdermal. It does not penetrate the skin. There's no side effects. There's no drugs or stimulants. The only thing that you may experience is a detoxification because it does that as well, but it is non-invasive. I must have a disclaimer that LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. It is considered a medical technology, a wearable technology, and again, that's what it does. Okay, that's how it works. Let's talk about the benefits of the X39. I already read it when I read the patent. The patent listed all of these things: increasing your strength, reduce inflammation, increase stamina, energy and vitality, mental clarity, restored muscle or skeletal condition, improvement of sleep, and improvement of skin and appearance. Again, I've already experienced several of these things, which is why I'm on a crusade to share this information with as many people as possible, particularly those who are closest to me that I love, that I know that are hurting, that are healing, that are taking medications. I know people that are taking 5, 10, 15, 20 different medications at a time. Again, and it's interesting because not to discredit our medical practice, but medical professionals generally spend the majority of their studies learning how to treat issues, not to prevent. Prevention is not something they spend a lot of time with. And sometimes I wonder why they call it a medical practice, because sometimes you go to a doctor, they'll prescribe something or subscribe something for you. It won't work. They say, well, let's try this. And then you go back, that won't work. Well, let's try this again. I call that practicing, and we don't want that to continue. So again, you can achieve optimal health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being by using this X39 patch. Now, how long and how do does it turn? Let me talk about the long-term results of wearing the patch. And this is based on case studies that are in our site. If you're taking notes, jot this down. This is itinfo.com. This is itinfo.com. That is our informational site put together so you can actually go to one place to get your information. In the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. That is significant because it was also a study done if you drink enough red wine, and that you can actually reset 2 of your genes. And that is because there's an ingredient called resveratrol, which is basically extraction of a grape seed, that if you drink and have enough of it, it will help reset 2 genes. So imagine 4,000 genes begin to reset. So that means when you start using this patch, some of you will experience things in the first few days. You might sleep better. You might aches and pains may go away. Collagen is starting to reset. So many things start happening. And the thing about these patches and the technology is because it's so smart, it identifies what your body needs most. So again, you may be suffering from some kind of pain or injury, but you also may have something going on with your liver, maybe your heart, maybe your blood pressure, maybe your collagen. So the bottom line is in the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced. I'm going to show you a scan, which is a scan of a 77-year-old woman who within 6 weeks, you saw her brain become balanced. And again, these are based on x-rays and scans. You can see it. It's not just me saying it, it's actually actual factual. Within 3 months, your collagen increases. This is important, particularly for people like anybody who's an athlete or who spent a lot of time standing on their feet or just have issues with their bones and their joints, because collagen is that cushion that you need in between the joints to help you relieve pain. In fact, if you go to Amazon, one of the biggest sellers of Amazon online is collagen, whether it's a cream or a supplement. There's so many things that has collagen in it, and you will even find things in Amazon, including the copper peptide that I talked about as a supplement to help you. Again, now within 6 months, your heart reverses in age. We have several hundreds, if not thousands, of testimonies of individuals who go to the doctor for a general checkup, and within 6 months, they go back. And a 60-year-old, they tell them that you have the heart of a 40-year-old because of the reversing the things that are happening in the body. The reactivation of those stem cells does a lot of things. And again, it's not anti-aging, it's literally age reversing. Here's the result I talked about. This is the scan. This is a topography map. Basically, it's a scan of a 70-year-old woman's brain. And again, and keep this in mind, even though this is a scan of a brain, this could very much be your heart, your liver, any part of your body. So what applies here applies to the rest of your body, because again, it's all involved in stem cells. And I don't know anybody who doesn't have stem cells. And I mean, anybody needs to hear this information. Now look at session number 1. Session number 1, you notice some reddish orange area. That represents inflammation in the brain. There's lack of coherence in the brain. Now that's session 1. Now 3 weeks later, they went back for another scan. And this time you don't see the reddish orange area because the inflammation is already gone. There's no more inflammation. It's an improved brain coherence. And then in session number 3, which is 6 weeks after of using the patch, the complete turnaround, you see mostly greens and yellows, which represents a complete turnaround, a brain balance, a brain coherence. And many of you will experience this by using the patch again when you start to use it. So again, these are some things that are factual and you can see it. And again, just keep in mind, even though I'm sharing a scan of a brain, this could be very much any part of your body. Now, how do you wear the X39? You wear the patch 12 hours on and 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate. So let's say you put it on at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you wear it and take it off at 8 o'clock at night. You take it off and you wait another 12 hours so that your body can rejuvenate itself now and repair. And then you put on another patch the next morning, and you just kind of rinse and repeat and do it over and over again. Again, now if you look at the example of on the screen, you notice that they showed you wearing the patch in 2 locations. One is just below the belly button, and the other one is just below the back of the neck, on top of the head. Now, the reason you see it in those locations is because anytime you do a clinical study, for purposes of accuracy, you have to put it in the same locations for data collection and everything else. So for the sake of the case study, that is where it's shown, but you can wear the patch anywhere on the body. Okay, but drink plenty of water, but don't just drink regular water. Drink some water that's high, what I call it, in high pH, or not acidic water, but you want to drink water that has a high pH. But also you want to drink water that's good, has high in minerals, because again, if people would drink more water, a lot of the issues that people have would actually go away. Again, that is why when you go into the emergency room in a hospital, the very first thing they do when you come in is they hydrate the patient, because over 90% of the people in this country are dehydrated. And a lot of times you don't even realize it. And I had to learn this myself because again, I played basketball at a high level. So the only time I would drink water is when I was thirsty. But now you want to drink about half your body weight. That would help you accelerate the benefits of this patch. Now, again, X39, it sounds sophisticated, but yes, simple to explain. The patch actually reflects light back inward into your body at a certain frequency. Once that light is reflected back into your body, it activates your copper peptides. And as I shared with you with the Laurent Picard experiment, which he started in 1973 when he discovered it, that he said, if you can figure out a way to activate your copper peptides, you will stimulate and activate your stem cells. That is where David Schmidt came in and spent a good part of his 10 years developing it, the patch. And again, the best thing about X39 is that it absolutely works. That is why it has a patent. As I said earlier, you cannot get a patent for something that does not work. Now, this is our site. I mentioned this earlier. This is at info.com. Take a screenshot, write it down. If you're the kind of person that says, listen, I need to do my research, and I'll have friends that say, listen, I'm going to pray about it, and then I'm going to, then do some research. So if you're going to pray about it, pray quickly and go to info.com. Get all the factual information, the case studies. There's testimonies in there from doctors and people, as well as people that used it. The case study is there. The patents are there. Everything that you need to know about this particular patch and how it works is in one place to save you time and effort. And again, the longer you wait to get this information, the longer you have to heal and deal with the things that are challenging to your body. And what I want to do, I want to shift gears real quick. I'm going to share with you two testimonies. Now, these testimonies, for me, when I first heard these testimonies, again, it literally brought tears to my eyes because, again, these are true testimonies. The first one's going to be a video of a gentleman. He is a veteran, a retired veteran. He also was in law enforcement, had several things that happened to him in his body. His wife is a nurse for several years. So we're talking about people who are, again, are not just credible, but people who, again, understand the value of. The second testimony you're going to hear is actually an audio. A gentleman from the Bronx, New York. He actually grew up in Long Island. He actually is listed as one of the worst cases of child abuse in the history of Long Island. He's going to talk about his experience and after using the patches and what happened to him. And I guarantee you, you can get back to the person who invited you. We have testimonies that address just about anything you could think of, again, to share with you if you need to have a testimony. So listen intently to these testimonies. And after that, I'm going to come on the other side. Again, the first portion, we talked about our health, which is our wealth, and I see them as the same thing. On the second side, after the testimonies, I'm going to put on my business hat. And for those of you who are interested in maybe a secondary income, or maybe just helping some people that you know, stay in for the rest of the presentation so you can hear how you can benefit as well. So here's the first testimony. I will see you on the other side of the second testimony.
Turning 60 here in a couple of months. I know I don't look it, but I'm turning 60 and the body really has taken a toll. And I've just had my 18th surgery last December on my shoulder repair. I had 17 on my neck and my lower lumbar. The last back surgery I had last year was they put two rods in my back. So I've got a neural stimulator, wires running up to my neck. I look like a Terminator on the inside. So I was waking up, I was in pain every day. And I didn't for years, since 1998, actually. And then, so didn't know what it felt like to be out of pain. And I tried everything. I've done everything from top hospitals, from Johns Hopkins to down in Orlando, Florida, and Tampa, Florida hospitals and doctors and everything. And I tried about everything, acupuncture, you name it, and still experiencing pain. And because I've been in Iraq and the things that I did, you know, dealt hard with PTSD. And so my sleep over the years have been very poor. When I say poor, on an average of 2 to 3 hours a night. 4 hours is a good night, where it's either the pain or reoccurring nightmares. And this has gone on for over a decade. So a few weeks ago, a pastor told me about the patches. And when he mentioned it, Bishop Larry Jackson, when he mentioned it, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Just send it. And he told me about the stem cells. I've heard about that, read about that prior. And so he called Miss Gwen and got the patches to me about 2 weeks ago. And I put got an example of the X39, 49, and the Ocean Wave. I think that's what it is, Ocean Wave. So either way, I took a patch because I was really hurting that night and put it on my lumbar. And this is no joke. 30 seconds after putting that patch on, within 30 seconds, I was feeling no pain. I mean, I'm moving my hips around like I had a hula hoop on, just trying to make the pain happen. And there was no pain. And I couldn't believe it. And then but it was true. And slept fine. So ever since these last 2 weeks, and I keep a record on my phone, I have an app for my sleep, and how many hours, you know, what's my REM sleep and so forth, how much restful sleep. Prior to these patches, my average time was between an hour and 50 minutes and 3 hours and 33 minutes of getting sleep per night. Since I've had the patches, I'm getting 7 and 8 hours a night. My PTSD, as far as the nightmares, I haven't had one nightmare in the last 2 weeks. So this patch is amazing. So amazing that my wife, who's an RN for 34 years, she's been dealing with nerve pain in her legs. She uses it and it's helped her tremendously. So that's my story and I'm sticking with it because it's true.
Now here's the second testimony. This one's audio, so listen very closely to this one. Again, some of you may want to go grab some some facial tissues because again, I did when I first heard it.
Worst on record case of childhood abuse in Bayshore, Long Island in the 1970s. Two of my twin brothers, they weren't my twin, they were twins with each other, they perished. And myself and some other siblings survived and became scattered. As a result, the abuse I sustained, a lot of the abuse that came from pool sticks, it caused over 118 fractures in my body. And the doctors could see the bone spurs, the chips off of the bone everywhere. And as a young person, I overcame a lot of that, most all of it. As I got older, it brought havoc on me. Every type of rare arthritis that's out there as a result, it seems I got it. My parents would be arrested if they took me to the doctor, so I was left at home for these things to heal. Nerves grew around those bone spurs, and so they cannot be removed now. I have suffered as an adult pain that is indescribable. I have gout, a rare form of arthritis. I have teeth syndrome, a rare form of arthritis. I have kyphosis of the spine, which is hunchback, meaning my spine will decide to bend on its own involuntarily, and you can feel it as the bones are cracking. Multiple osteophytes, so when I sit up straight, the bone spurs to press on the nerves. And sometimes it would take me until about this time in the evening, between 6 p.m. and now, to be able to sit up or make it to the side of my bed to use a urinal. Now, I usually preface, let me say it now, this is a tale of triumph, not sadness. I today, as the grandfather and a father of two, can now go and visit my kids or hang out with them. And I've only been using these patches for 22 days. After 6 days, I walked 2 miles, something I hadn't been able to do in a decade and a half. On Thanksgiving, I visited my 36-year-old son. He is an adult with a disability, and it's the first time I could visit him on Thanksgiving in 11 years instead of sitting home crying. The pain would be so unimaginable at times that I literally would feel like I was passing out. All I could do was pray. Couldn't even tell you my name in those moments. And I've asked about assisted suicide and everything else because there wasn't much of a life there. It hurt all over, and it hurt terribly bad. Within 3 days, I felt very little pain at all. Almost none. At 6 days, I walked 2 miles from the Bronx into Manhattan, and I never had to sit down once. I never had to stop. I didn't think about it till I was walking over the overpass over the Major Deegan. I've been able to carry my own groceries now instead of having to order them. I've been able to carry gallons and gallons of things so much so I realized I need to chill out a little bit. I'm overdoing it. I took the subway to see my son on Thursday, and I enjoy the fact here I am traveling to Brooklyn from the Bronx. I'm enjoying it. I didn't take a cab. I decided to walk a quarter of a mile from Utica Avenue to his home and do the same going back, although my big brother, Dallas Bell, who is a part of why these patches are in my life, he introduced Miss Paula Pierce, who sent me the patches, and Miss Yvonne Landy, who also sent me patches and got me well in a record amount of time. I'm on disability because I haven't been able to work since 1996 for the aforementioned reasons. But today, all I can do every day is thank God I can get up anytime I want. I can go without taking the pills because they're PRN and they're opioids. And I can give my kidneys and my blood and my bones a break from the toxins of chemicals. I can offer to take my neighbor's garbage out when I go out. When they had to take mine out, I keep it in the freezer because I couldn't get them out of here. And I didn't like asking if they'd have to get my mail. I'm offering to do these things and I'm doing them with ease. I haven't felt this good since I was a teenager. You mentioned your shoulder. I had a torn tendon in the right shoulder. Not only could I not sleep on that side, but I had such a hard time. I have a $3,800 guitar and I can't even pick it up and hold because I'm afraid it's going to fall and break. Now I can literally curl and lift weights. I'm doing it within moderation, and I'm going to continue doing the other things I've been doing. I'm not trying to replace these things, but I'm telling you now, it feels impossible. I didn't want to leave my children behind, but I didn't want to live in that constant moment of pain. I couldn't even go to the pharmacist to get my pain meds sometimes for 2 months because it hurt too much to go get them, ironically. Now I'm forgetting to take the pain medicines at times. So I just want you all to know, everything I do will always come from my spirit, from my soul. With every fabric of my being, my testimony is true to all of you. And I hope to touch some of you so you can understand, yes, I'm 54. I've been through it all. People in my position, we've tried everything. And you're afraid to set yourself up for disaster because you tried all the snake oil and everything else. The black seed oil and everything, sure, it helps you, but it ain't helped me with what I'm dealing with. These patches, the X39, are a gift from God. God works in mysterious ways. This is a mysterious way. I didn't have to understand, but it has made me a new man with a new life. And I hope that you all give it a try and bring it to others who are suffering. And God bless you all. Thank you for your time.
Well, I hope you guys listened very intently to the gentleman's testimony. Again, that's just one of thousands of testimonies that we get every week. So I'm going to shift gears again. I wanted to focus today's call on your health. Again, this is really what drove me to share this opportunity with you. So I'm going to put on my business hat for those of you who are looking for a second opportunity to develop a secondary income outside what you're doing. Imagine being in a position to not just help people, but also help yourself as well in the process. So let me talk about this company and why you should pay more close attention on who we are. Again, LifeWave had tremendous growth. In fact, this is our 20th anniversary. So the company's been around this year for 20 years. And the reason that many of you may have heard of it, even myself, is because most of the people involved or connected with LifeWave were medical practitioners, nurses, and people in that field. And they really catered to their patients. But 3 years ago, a group of people got together, saw the value of what this did, and they said, listen, we have to get this out to more people. And then that was our mission. That is what we're here to do. We're on a mission to get this out to people of faith, but also people in our communities. It's an, again, 20-year company. They went from $20 million to $320 million in the last 3 years. And then it coincides when X39 was developed. So again, even though David developed several other patches, once he developed his stem cell patch X39, the company skyrocketed. We're now in over 75 countries. And the thing I like most about it, because I've been retired for 3 years and I've literally, was kind of content without doing anything on the side. But after using the patch and seeing the results of it and sharing it with family and friends, I had to say, you know what, I can't let this pass me by. And as a result of it, I started building a business. Again, the thing I like most about it, because I do have certain things I look at when I decide on a company. One of them is it a Me Too product? And the great thing about it is it's not a supplement, it's not a weight loss, it's not something that you can get just about anywhere. And there's nothing wrong with the weight loss, skincare, and supplements that are out there. And in fact, some of them work very well. However, you can get all of these things on Amazon. You can get it at Walmart. You can get it at Walgreens. You can even get supplements at your local gas station. So again, it's not a Me Too product. There's another 17 years left on the patent. That means the only way you can get it is through some what we call a brand partner, someone who's a member of LifeWave. You may have some people that try to sell it and market it on Amazon and other platforms, but that's considered illegal, and those people will be dealt with accordingly. So again, you have exclusivity in marketing this product, which again is one of the criteria I look at when I look at a business. And then the potential stem cells has been one of the biggest categories of markets in the world. People have gone out of the country to try to get stem cell injections because it's not considered legal here. Costs hundreds and thousands of dollars to get a shot, and it's usually a localized procedure, and there's no guarantee. Many of them don't even work. In fact, some of them have spent thousands of dollars to get no results. So again, that's the benefit of getting started with a company like LifeWave. Here is a chart showing that we are the #1 fastest ranked company in terms of momentum in the world. And again, not just the country, but in the world. If you look at the graph, you can see it growing at about a 45-degree angle. For those of you who are business minded, anytime you see that kind of growth, you want to be caught in that wave. Again, at some point, that's going to go vertical. Again, so we're #1 ranked company in the world by businessforhome.org, which is where people who are looking to join direct sales and marketing companies, they will go there for a resource because they will tell you about the company, will tell you about the founders, the history of the company. Again, it's a great resource. So what's important to you? You saw on the screen that I showed at the beginning: family, time, freedom, security, travel, a better health, less debt. I mean, all of these things are important to me, but the question I have for you is, what is important to you? In addition to your health, which is again the first wealth, which we covered in the first half, as we start to wrap up, let's talk about now having some financial freedom. Now, company is actually set up as again, a direct sales company. We also have what's called a binary structure. Binary simply means two, and it's a very simple concept. It means you have a left side and a right side. And for the sake of the example, your goal, your very first goal should be get to what's called a manager. And all you need to do to get to manager is have 2 people on your left and 2 people on your right who get started. Again, the great thing about being a manager is anytime you get a manager or above, you have the potential to earn up to $25,000 per week in the binary. And here's the benefit of a binary. Let's say you get started and you invite 2 people on your left and 2 people on the right, and those individuals are going to look to do the same thing. Now, anybody that gets started after you get started, let's say you happen to come in on the left side, and then you get started. That means this week, next month, anybody that comes into that team on the left side, they will be contributing to the volume that helps you get compensated. So let me say that again. You will be getting compensated on people that you don't know, maybe never meet, and didn't even introduce because of what we call timing and position. So if you're serious about business, you want to look at this, and again, focus on getting to manager by introducing 2 people on your left and 2 people on your right, and then continue to build from there. That's called a binary. Now, the only thing better than a binary and getting paid on your own efforts is getting paid on the efforts of other people. And we have something called a matching bonus. Now, a matching bonus, the way this works is as you introduce individuals to LifeWave, anybody that you personally introduce to enroll is called your first generation, your first level. Think about it in the family structure. It's your child. So anybody, all your children, you're going to get paid 25% on the volume of all the children in your team, right? And let's say, for example, you invite me to join LifeWave and I have a good week and I make $1,000 this week. Guess what? You're going to earn $250 this week, and it's not going to come out of the $1,000 the company sends. It's going to come out as an additional matching bonus because the company is rewarding you because you're helping them get the word out. So you have to be paid as a manager above, and I'll talk about that in a little more detail. Now, let's say you have some grandchildren, which is your second level. That means you're going to get paid 20% of all the work that your grandchildren do. And let's say one of your grandchildren has $1,000 a week. You're going to get $200 because they earned $1,000 that week. And then you even get paid in your great grandchildren on your third generation, your third level, another 20%. So again, you can benefit on the efforts of other people. We work as a team. And again, you don't even have to know who these individuals are. That is why it's important to position yourself sooner than later. Okay. Now, this is only 2 of the 4 ways that you get compensated. We spend a little bit more time going into this in detail once you make a decision to take advantage of it. So I'm not going to belabor the details of the compensation, but understand that there's no limit to how much you make in matching bonus. So in the binary, you can earn up to $25,000 per week. But in the matching bonus, that is unlimited. Again, as long as you, again, as a manager above, you want to take advantage of it. Let's talk about getting started. There's 3 ways you can get started. You can actually fill out a form. The person that invited you could send you this form. The form will tell you how to fill it out. Basically, it's your general information. You want to create a username for your and a password. You're going to have a replicated website. You're also going to have a back office where you can track all the activity of your business. And we recommend getting started at either silver, gold, or diamond. And what that simply means is how many sleeves you get started with. So let's say you get started at a silver. A silver, it costs you $2.99 to get started. You have a 90-day supply of the patches. The patches come in what's called a sleeve, and the sleeve has a 30-day supply, which is basically 30 patches. Now, if you're someone who just simply wants to use the patches, it sells retail for $149.95. So again, you could choose to get to shop retail, and here's the benefit of getting started. At a retail customer, you have a 90-day, 100% money back guarantee for retail. So if you're thinking about just trying the patches, get a 90-day supply. Again, it's $149.95 per sleeve. But again, you have 90 days to use it and see the benefits of it. Now, how many companies would even give you a 90-day supply guarantee on anything? Now, as a brand partner, you have a 30-day supply, but again, 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. For those of you who are a little bit more ambitious, you can get started as a gold member. A gold member gets 5 sleeves. 5 sleeves, that's 5 30-day supplies of the patch. And for those of you who are serious builders, you can get started at what's called a diamond pack. A diamond pack, you actually wind up with 19 sleeves. Now, anytime you come as a brand partner, you get them at a discount of 30%. So they cost you $99 per sleeve. But as a diamond, because you're getting 19 sleeves, you get it at $84 per sleeve. So not only are you getting a discount, now just imagine you can actually sell them. You can actually use them as your partners come aboard. They're going to want those patches right away. So rather than them to wait for their order, you can loan them a couple of sleeves and they can give it back to you when they get their order. But again, if you're a serious business builder, you want to have sleeves on hand because again, you need at least a 30-day supply for yourself. If you're working with a partner or a spouse or significant other, they need their own 30-day supply. And again, you need to give out samples because for the first 6 months of me joining this company, I was not even focused on looking at it as a business. I was just giving out samples. And that is how I wound up getting customers and partners, because when you give people samples, again, they will actually see the benefits of it. And again, you need to have what we call inventory on hand. Think about it this way. If you were to start a franchise, let's say it's the McDonald's, would you wait until people walked into your doors and place an order to say, let me get some a Big Mac, fries, and a shake? Would you place your order then, or would you do it beforehand, knowing that the people are going to be coming through the door? I guarantee you, and I've had this happen with many partners. They get started, and within a week they say, "Man, I should have actually got at one of the other packs because I need these. They're going off the shelf so quick." The great benefit of being a member here is you can upgrade from silver to gold to diamond at any time by just paying the difference. But the bottom line is you want to get started, and again, silver is the way to go. Now, I talked about becoming a manager and some of the benefits of being a manager. But to be a manager, you have to be at least a gold member or higher. But again, you could always upgrade, get in when you fit in. You could always upgrade from silver to gold, gold to diamond. Again, that's going to give you more packages. And again, as you get started, you also want to be active. You want to be stay qualified. What does that mean? That means you have to have at least one subscription of the X39 sleeves on order once a month. Some people call it an order ship. Some people go to subscription. Don't look at it as a subscription. Look at it as an investment because it is your business. And again, something you can write off in the end. But the bottom line is if you have at least one sleeve on order, particularly a one sleeve subscription, what that does, it keeps all of your points. That means all of the people that's going to come in after you, they're going to be ordering, they're going to be building a team. That volume is accumulating. It's like having a savings account. And all you have to do to unlock the savings account is continue to build and share with other people. And you will eventually get paid on all that volume that is accumulating with or without your assistance. Now, to get to manager or above, and again, to maximize the compensation plan, you have to have at least a 2-sleeve subscription in place. That means you have just $199 per month. Again, if you're building with someone, you both need your own pack anyway. And even if you're building by yourself, if you're working by yourself, you need a 30-day supply for yourself because you want to be a user of what you're promoting, but also you need to give out samples anyway. So at the very minimum, you need a 2-sleeve subscription. Again, that's $199 per month. It allows you to keep your points, but more importantly, allows you the potential to maximize the compensation plan. All right. Again, if you get started, if you just have a 1-sleeve subscription, you're limited to earning $100 per week, which is $400 a month. And for some people, that's all you're looking to do. That's fine. But again, if you want to go beyond that, you want to upgrade at some point and have a 2-sleeve subscription in place. All right. Again, so for those of you, again, who want to also look at what we're doing, we have a website for our team called thisisitteam.com. On this site, you're going to see a schedule of all of our Zooms that we have during the week. The compensation plan is here. There's videos on here. There's testimonies on here. There's all kind of information that you would need as a team. So if you're the kind of person that's independent and a self-starter, you can literally build a business just following what's in this site. So jot that down. This is at team.com and hold to it. This is an example of what you'll see. Again, now that you're ready to make your move, and if you're serious about making a dream, you go to the site. This is a list of our weekly events. Again, today is Tuesday. Again, we have calls in the UK, Sydney, Australia. Pretty much every day during the week from Monday through Friday, there's presentation. On Saturday, there's a live training every Saturday at 1 o'clock. We've also filled in the gaps in between. This calls on Tuesday at 8 and 10 o'clock p.m. as well as tonight. There's another call at 10 o'clock p.m. tonight. For those of you interested, get back to the person that invited you if you want to get a second dose. Or if you just want to say, reach out to some people and say, I saw something incredible. What are you doing at 10 o'clock? And get on a call and you'll get to share a second time. Again, so this is just some of the resources that we have available to us. This Saturday, if you happen to be in the Atlanta area, there's going to be a big event. It's called the Atlanta Launch, hosted by Senior Directors Jeff and Regina Payton, as well as Presidential Director Mr. Reggie Stewart, one of the top leaders in the company. It's going to be at the Hampton Inn, and that is on Norcross, Georgia. Again, for those of you interested as brand partners, there's a $10 fee to cover the course. Our guests are free. So even if you're not in Atlanta, but you know people in Atlanta, invite a guest to the event. Our people will take care of them. And if they get started, guess what? You're starting to build around the world already. Now, before I close out, I also want to remind everyone that there's a convention coming up in July 19th and 20th. It's called Believe. This is a convention. Again, we had a big one last year. It was a 2-day event. David Schmidt is going to be there. All of the leaders are going to be there. It's a life-changing and business building training from the This Is It team leaders. I'm telling you, you will learn so much, and it could be life-changing for you, but you don't want to go by yourself. You want to go with your team. So if you're interested, make sure you go to thisisitconvention.com to register. There's still seats available, but again, that is where you want to go. Now, I just want to remind our business partners, and I'm going to send a link out in a second, but we do have our 9 o'clock team huddle every Thursday with Miss Erica McQueen. She's one of the senior directors in the company. And again, it's just some training tips. So those of you available, check your email, check your text messages, get on that call so you can actually build and grow your business. There's going to be some great information shared tonight. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you, particularly all of you, the guests of Gloria Harrison, the guests of Michael Huggins, Dr. Anthony Stroman, all of our guests and our members. If you are a guest of any one of our partners, get back to them, let them know your interest level. You know, if nothing else, you definitely want to get hold of these patches, because again, the sooner you get hold of them, the sooner you'll be able to address and deal with some of the challenges that we all have in life. And in closing, I just want to say this, and I'd like to close with this quote. If being who you are would get you what you want, wouldn't you already have it? So if you don't have what you want, you either have to change what you want, which means give up your goals and dreams, or change who you are. And this opportunity allows you to do that. And last but not least, withhold not good from those two it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do so. Again, withhold not good, which is this opportunity, this X39 patch is something that you need to share. If you had a neighbor that was starving and needed food and you had extra food, would you not share with them? So you can no longer say that you don't know that about this patch. You know people that are in your life who need healing, people who are suffering, who are taking medications, who have to walk with assistance of canes and walkers and wheelchairs, people who can't get around, people who have all kinds of challenges, high blood pressure, sciatica. I could just name all the different things that people have experienced that are having success using the patch. So withhold not good from those two it is due. And the people that I'm referring to are the people I just mentioned, the people in our lives who are hurting, when it's in the power of thine hand to do so. It's in the power of your hand right now. You know about it. You can no longer say you didn't know. So don't allow the people that you know in your life suffer because you decided not to share with them. Whether you take advantage or not, get back to the person. You want to get back to the person that invited you to this call tonight. Let them know your interest level. Get your patches, order them today. Don't wait. Get hold of them as soon as possible. You want to start healing sooner than later. And we will see all of you on the beaches of the world. And remember, team members, if you're, again, look for a link in a text for the 9 o'clock call with Miss Erica McQueen that's about to start. And I will see you all on the beaches of the world. God bless you.